Hey guys, it's Sarah and today is Booklist Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, and every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or topic that surrounds books that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are working again with Amanda from The Curly Reader, and we are doing our 5-star prediction follow-up. So a couple of months ago we decided to take 5 books that we thought were going to be 5-star predictions, and they all had something in common, and then we read them and then follow up and let you know what they are. And this year we've been partnering with other booktubers and it's been so much fun, and this time we have partnered with Amanda. So we decided that we were going to focus on books that we hauled during quarantine. So from the time quarantine kind of officially started and became kind of nationwide, and up until the point where we filmed those videos, whatever we hauled, we wanted to pick from those books to pick as 5-star predictions. So here are my thoughts on those. The first one I picked was The Honey Don't List. This is by Christina Lauren, and this is one of my favorite authors. I say authors because it's a writing duo. They are 2 best friends who write together, and they combine their names to be Christina Lauren. So I enjoyed this book, definitely, but it wasn't a 5-star for me. It was only a 4-star. And I don't really know, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was, but I wasn't super invested in it, I guess. And I liked the premise of it. So this follows a couple who is a home improvement, like superstars, basically kind of Chip and Joanna Gaines, if you will. And they seemingly have a very strong marriage, and people look up to them, and they write books, and, you know, they have this home improvement show and all these things, and they go on book tours and everything, and they're completely in the limelight. But behind the scenes, they actually hate each other. They hate each other. And this doesn't necessarily follow them, though. It follows their assistants. So the assistant to the wife and the assistant to the husband. And it's them trying to put out fires constantly because this couple does not get along. And you see them form a relationship in the midst of all that. So that's what it is. And I definitely liked it. I really liked the romance, definitely. And could feel the chemistry and could feel the connection and stuff. It's just, I don't know, for some reason, it just didn't completely capture me. And I'm not really sure why. It's hard to even explain because I can't really pinpoint it, but I did enjoy it. It just wasn't, you know, unputdownable. I love this so much. It's one of my favorite things, but it was a 4-star. All right. And the next one was Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. I hated this book, and I hate that I even have to say that because I was really looking forward to this one, and mainly because K.A. Tucker wrote The Simple Wild, which everybody raves about, everybody, and I bought that book. I haven't read that one yet. I kind of wish I had picked that one instead of this one, but I hauled it before the quarantine, so it didn't count. So I decided to give this one a try because I wanted to read something by her. And I have heard that even people who loved The Simple Wild hated this one too. So I'm not in the minority on this one for sure. But this follows a woman who ends up meeting back up with her kind of teenage first love type thing, who she had met at a summer camp when she was in high school, and they had this very hot and heavy summer fling there. And he's been someone that's always been stuck in her mind. And then they end up meeting up again, like kind of by chance in their 30s. And so it's kind of reliving that. I'm getting reacquainted with this person that he's now back in her life again. And I just did not like it. I did not like the main character at all. I thought she was very needy. I thought she was very insecure. And being in her head kind of drove me nuts because she was constantly, you know, questioning, what is he thinking? Is he doing this? Is he thinking about me? Did he kiss her and blah, blah, blah? And how dare he kiss someone before he even met me and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just, oh my goodness. It was a little exhausting to be in her head, honestly. And something that drove me nuts. And I'm still like, I physically cringe every time I even think about it. So when he was a teenager, he had a lip ring, like he had his lip pierced. Okay, that's a personal choice, whatever. But there was constant mention of him flicking his tongue over it while he's talking, or like a nervous gesture and he's flicking his tongue over it. And then there was a makeout scene where she talked about she flicked her tongue over it, and I was like, oh, like it physically just makes me want to throw up. It's just, that's not sexy to me at all. And I know that's a personal preference. I understand that. I get it. But I don't think it's sexy. Therefore, the number of times it was mentioned in here just made me multiple times. And it just kept happening. I'm like, why are we still talking about this lip ring? It's so gross. So that definitely dampened my enjoyment of it, for sure. And yeah, I don't know. I did not like it at all. I gave it a 2-star. Just, nope. And then we had another 2-star here, At the Wolf's Table by Rosella Postorino. And this one, I loved the premise of this one, the way this was pitched, and the premise of it is that you are following a young girl who is a food taste tester for Hitler. He had multiple food taste testers who would sample the food he was given before he would eat it because he was afraid of poisoned. So I wonder why. And so you're supposed to be following her and her experiences and her story and everything, which you do. But it was way darker than I was expecting. And I don't mind dark, but if I go into something not expecting that, it throws me off and I end up kind of like, wait a second. I felt like there were things in here that weren't necessary. Hitler was not even in here. He was mentioned, but I would expect him, if she's a taste tester, I would expect for him to at least be in some of the scenes, but it's just he's mentioned and that's it. And I don't know how it actually was, whether he saw his taste testers or not. Maybe he didn't. Maybe that's how it was. Okay, all right. Like, I thought they were going to be sitting at the table with him tasting his food and then he would eat it because it says At the Wolf's Table. So that's kind of what I was expecting this to be like, and it wasn't at all. She had zero interaction with him. None of them did. And you see her dealing with the fact that her husband is at war and she is also unfaithful to him with one of Hitler's soldiers. So it was like, I don't know. It just gave me gross, kind of icky feelings the whole time. And, I don't mind being uncomfortable with something. That doesn't bother me, but it just, I don't know, something about it just made me go, why is this the story? This is not what I was expecting at all. And it surprised me in not a good way, basically. So yeah, I only gave this one 2 stars. All right, we're going to move on up now. And we are going to talk about Firefly, Big Damn Hero by James Lovegrove. And this is the first book in a series of books coming out that are based on the Firefly TV show and the Firefly franchise. Now, I loved the TV show and I love the movie Serenity as well. I cannot believe the show was only on for 1 season. And it's like a cult classic. People love this. So I don't understand why it was ever canceled. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But this does follow the characters. But it doesn't follow what happened in the show. So it's the same characters, same kind of scenarios, but it's not something that you've already seen. Basically, it's a brand new story. So I really loved it. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I was watching a Firefly show because this is also, the story concept is by Nancy Holder, and there's a consulting editor of Josh Whedon, who is the one who produced the show. So like people who were a part of the show contributed to this as well and kind of helped with the process. So it's very authentic to the show. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun. It really, really was. It wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't amazing writing or anything, but it was a good time. It was fun. I love these characters. I laughed out loud quite a bit. And yeah, anytime Nathan Fillion's involved, I'm in. So I gave this one 4 stars. And the last one I want to talk about, I saved for last because it is the only 5-star on this list. And that's The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. This is my favorite book of the year right now. And I have a lot to say, so I'm going to try not to get too carried away. But this book follows a woman who is living in the 1970s in South Carolina, Outer Banks. Yeah. And North Carolina. Hold on. North Carolina. I know my Carolinas. I don't. Okay. North Carolina. And she is married. She is pregnant. And her husband has gone to the Vietnam War. And so she's pregnant. And then while her husband is gone, she finds out from a doctor that her unborn child, has a life-threatening situation happening in its body. And it's not something that can be fixed, because this is in the 1970s. They don't have the type of medical technology and the medical advances that we have today. So she's basically told, your baby's going to be born and it's going to die. It might have a few months and that's it. So obviously she's devastated. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how she can help her child. And her brother-in-law approaches her and says, I might have a solution, because I'm actually from the future. And I know for a fact that in 2001, you can go to that year and you can have a procedure done on your baby while it's still in the womb that will fix the problem, hopefully, and your child can be born and have the best chance at living a life. And she's like, and you're crazy. What is happening? But it's true. He is able to time travel, and he had time traveled, and he's now in the 1970s, and he's choosing to stay there. He's not traveling anymore. He's choosing to stay there. He married her sister. He's settling down. He has kids. So that's where he wants to stay. So she has to make a decision. Am I going to do this? Am I going to trust him and time travel to go try to save my child? Or do I suck it up? And so you follow her decision, and what happens. And there's so much in here, you guys. It's so good. It was very complicated, but it made so much sense as you're reading it. The way that he was able to prove to her that he is from the future. And then, what she ultimately decides to do. And of course, along the way, there's so many things that happen that makes her change her mind. And she has to make different decisions based on the situations and all these things. And I felt so many emotions reading this. I was happy. I was anxious. I was yelling at the book at one point. I was surprised, and I was sad, and then I was happy again. And it took me through all of the things. And it was beautiful. It really, really was. I really liked the way that it tied up. There was one little thing at the end that I kind of went, why are we doing this? But as the book wrapped up, it made sense. And I wasn't mad at it anymore. So there is that. But it was fantastic. It really, really was, you guys. If you have not read this book, it's going to be a huge high recommendation for me. One of the best books I've read in a really long time. And I loved it. I loved it. Now, if you do like Diane Chamberlain already, I know that this is not her usual writing style. She doesn't usually have any sort of science fiction or fantasy element in it. So this is something different for her. She normally writes kind of like women's fiction with still hard topics in it. So this is a little bit of a departure, but I think it's a fantastic one. And I absolutely loved it. Okay, guys, those are my 5-star predictions and what I thought of them. So the first 4, not 5 stars, but the 5th one made up for all of that because it was one of my favorite books of the year. So very interesting this time around. All right, so make sure you guys please go check out Lindsey and Amanda today, see what their follow-ups are and whether or not they gave their books 5 stars. I'm really excited to see because we have not talked about it. And I will have both of their channels linked down below, so make sure you go check them out. And huge thanks to Amanda for joining us for this round. It was a ton of fun. And let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys again soon. Have a great day.